I know what you are thinking. Big claims, cool thumbnail, nothing real at the end. Now this is different. Every discovery here is real, sourced, and has a direct consequence for your life. We will look at something that controls your body and shapes your decisions before you even realize it. A paralyzed man who walks again, and an AI that claims it found life on Mars. We are starting with a discovery that could expose your deepest feelings to the world before you even know they exist. Imagine sitting in a meeting when an attractive colleague walks in. Adrenaline, heart rate up, attention locked before you even realize it yourself. And then your AI assistant announces to the room, based on your brain activity, you find this person attractive. As insane as that sounds, researchers at Bar Ilan University in Israel made it possible in 2025 using AI to predict whether someone finds a person attractive from brainwave data alone, recorded in the fraction of a second their eyes land on a face. What surprised them most? It worked best on picky people. The more selective someone was, the clearer their attraction signal became. Apps might not need swipes anymore. Speed dating could happen without a word, and ads could be built around the faces your brain responds to most. Sounds interesting until companies use it to manipulate you, or governments read your preferences without asking. The study was small and needs replication, but if it scales, attraction is no longer private, it becomes data. The same decoding of brainwaves that reads attraction is now being used to restore a man's connection to his legs. And if you have ever watched someone you love lose the ability to move, what comes next might be the thing that gives their life back. Gert-Jan Oskam's cycling accident in 2011 severed his spinal cord. His brain still sent signals, they just never arrived. In 2023, researchers at EPFL in Switzerland built a digital bridge. An AI implant learns to decode movement intention from neural noise, then transmits that signal wirelessly to a second implant below the injury that stimulates the muscles in real time. Oskam described walking again as feeling almost normal. The system requires surgery and has been tested in a small number of patients, but in 2025, Elon Musk's Neuralink confirmed they are applying the same architecture to robotic limbs controlled by thought alone. And while AI is giving movement back to people who lost it somewhere on Mars, it may have just found something that makes every human problem feel very, very small. In September 2025, NASA's Perseverance rover found strange, carbon-based chemicals and unusual patterns inside Martian rocks that scientists say could be possible signs of ancient life. To help analyze this, researchers at the Carnegie Institution for Science trained an AI on thousands of biological and geological samples. The AI learned to tell the difference between signs of life and non-life with over 90% accuracy, even for forms of chemistry completely different from life on Earth. This technology could become a major milestone in tracing signs of alien life across the universe. Do you think your children will live to see the answer? Let me know in the comments, because now we are going from the oldest question in space to the oldest debate on Earth, and AI just gave that debate its most convincing answer yet. In June 2025, a team from Duke University, Tel Aviv University, and the Collège de France fed the Hebrew Bible into an AI trained on word frequency patterns. Not theology, just the statistical fingerprint of common words like no and king. It identified 3 distinct scribal traditions, the strongest quantitative evidence yet that the Bible was assembled from multiple authors across different periods, published in PLOS One. Separately, the Global Digital Scripture Initiative used neural networks trained on over 10,000 ancient manuscripts, including the Dead Sea Scrolls, to reconstruct the most probable original wording of key Bible books. This is not a claim the Bible is false. It is the clearest picture we have ever had of how it came to exist. For some, that is fascinating. For others, deeply unsettling. And both reactions are understandable. Drop your reaction in the comments. An AI decoded who wrote the most read book in human history. Researchers then asked, what else is it reading? Turns out, possibly you, right now. Imagine your darkest thoughts turning into real images on a screen, or a machine predicting your words before you even say them. In 2025, researchers at UC Berkeley and NTT Labs built an AI system that could generate captions from brain activity alone, while Meta developed technology that decoded speech directly from the brain before words were spoken. The goal is extraordinary, giving a voice back to people who can no longer speak or move. But neuroethicist Marcello Ienca at TU Munich has stated publicly that no legal system currently covers mental privacy. Do you think your thoughts truly belong only to you? However, breakthroughs like this have been promised many times before and never became real products. I will keep an eye on this specific project and update you if there is any major news. AI might already know what is on your mind. What it found next could tell you something your own body has been hiding. Something that might already be growing inside you right now and takes nearly 10 million lives every year. Cancer shifts your metabolism, releasing volatile compounds that reach your exhaled breath. In January 2026, researchers at UT Dallas and Binghamton University showed AI-powered sensor arrays detecting 2 cancer types from one breath. OncoSeq achieved 92% specificity for multi-cancer detection across 15,122 participants in 7 countries, published in NPJ Precision Oncology in 2025, while USC published a tool detecting cancer cells from a blood draw in under 10 minutes. None are in clinical use yet, and false positives remain a serious challenge, but the goal is a breath test at your annual physical. Most cancers that kill people are caught too late. Think about a family member you have lost, or one you are afraid of losing, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Detecting cancer early saves lives. But what if the warning came not from a test, but from last night's sleep, years before any doctor would have found anything? Published in Nature Medicine in January 2026, a team from Stanford, Harvard, Copenhagen, and the Technical University of Denmark trained an AI on overnight sleep data from 65,000 people. One night, 130 disease risk predictions, 84% accuracy for mortality risk. Alzheimer's begins destroying brain tissue 20 years before the first symptom, and during that window, sleep changes measurably. A recording from a healthy 45-year-old today could already carry the signature the model links to dementia in their 60s. This is a risk model, not a diagnosis, and clinical validation is still required. But your smartwatch is capturing some of this data tonight. The gap between a warning and a cure does not exist yet, but there is another risk nobody is talking about. If an AI flags your disease risk years before symptoms appear, that data exists. Insurance companies have used far less to raise premiums, deny coverage, or quietly close doors before you even know they were open. Knowing your risk early is only good news if the system around you does not punish you for it. AI reading your health signals is one thing. A system published in Nature just replaced the scientists entirely, running the full research process alone, and the paper it wrote passed peer review. A researcher sits down, spends months reviewing literature, forming hypotheses, running experiments, writing papers, and a machine just did all of that overnight for $15. The AI scientist from Sakana AI and published in Nature in January 2026 generates research ideas, writes and runs experiments, produces the manuscript, and performs peer review. 0 humans involved. A paper it produced passed first round review at a workshop with a 70% acceptance rate. Cosmos runs 12-hour autonomous research cycles, and Autoscience raised $14 million in March 2026 for a fully automated research lab. If nobody fully understands what the science is producing anymore, what gets built next? Let me know in the comments. AI replacing scientists is unsettling in theory. What CATL did in China in 2025 is unsettling in practice. They simply stopped hiring humans for those jobs. In late 2025, CATL, the company behind 38% of all EV batteries sold globally, deployed a humanoid robot called Xiaomo on their production line in Henan, China, developed by Spirit AI with an end-to-end vision, language, action model that sees, understands, and acts in real time. Over 99% accuracy and nearly 3 times the daily output of a human worker. Live production numbers, not pilots. Figure, AI's robots are simultaneously on BMW assembly lines in the United States, 3 times the output of a human worker. Even reading about AI every day, that hit me differently. This is not automation replacing repetitive tasks. It is a machine that sees, understands, and physically acts in real time, doing a job a skilled worker trained years to do. The displacement is real, and the conversation about what replaces that income has not started. If you have children choosing a career right now, this matters more than almost anything else in this video. AI is replacing workers in the present. In the Arabian desert, it just rewrote the past, finding an entire civilization nobody knew existed. Everything you learned about ancient history in school was limited by one thing. Humans could only look where they could physically reach. In early 2025, archaeologists using AI-processed synthetic aperture radar, a military technology that sends radar waves through sand, found settlements, roads, and trade routes beneath the Dubai desert floor, suggesting a thriving civilization 5,000 years ago. Yamagata University in Japan separately applied AI to satellite imagery of the Nazca Desert and identified 303 previously unknown geoglyphs, including humanoid shapes under a meter tall, invisible to every prior aerial survey. Both require ground verification. History books are written from the evidence available, and both findings still need ground verification before anything is confirmed. But if they hold, this might be the technology that rewrites what we thought we knew about the ancient world. Do you think it will? AI recovered civilizations we lost. Scientists are now asking whether it can recover something we actively destroyed, species we hunted out of existence. In early 2025, Colossal Biosciences made the cover of Time with what it called the world's first de-extinct animal, a dire wolf extinct for 10,000 years. Scientists called it a gray wolf with 20 dire wolf genetic edits. The pipeline. AI models ancient DNA to identify which edits express extinct traits without cascading unintended consequences. Then CRISPR executes them. MIT Technology Review named Gene Resurrection a top 2026 breakthrough technology. Dodo DNA has been recovered, and the Mammoth Project is underway. Mammoths compacted permafrost, their extinction accelerated climate change. We do not know what we are putting back into ecosystems that reorganized in 10,000 years of absence. The same pipeline pointed at a human embryo is no longer science fiction. It is the same technology aimed differently. Does the ability to reverse extinction give us the right to do it? So AI might bring back a species in 2026, but let's focus on something more present, because AI just crossed a line mathematicians have been guarding for 66 years. Think about the smartest person you know. Now imagine a competition where the world's best young mathematicians train for years, and most still leave without a medal. In 2025, AI systems from Google DeepMind and OpenAI entered the International Mathematical Olympiad and won gold. 5 out of 6 problems solved under official conditions. First time in 66 years. This is not a machine calculating faster. It is one that reasons and invents solutions that never existed before. Researchers claim this could accelerate every field built on mathematics, medicine, physics, engineering, delivering breakthroughs in months that previously took a generation. People are already debating whether we are ready for exponential progress. I will keep an eye on this one and update you when it moves. AI can now generate original reasoning. When Google and Harvard turned that on the human brain, they found something inside a grain of rice, of tissue nobody had ever seen. In May 2024, a team led by Jeff Lichtman at Harvard and Google's Connectomics division published in Science the most detailed 3D map of human brain tissue ever made. 1 cubic millimeter, half the size of a grain of rice, producing 1 petabyte of data stitched by AI into a reconstruction of 57,000 cells and 150 million synapses. For the first time, we can see exactly how the brain is wired. Alzheimer's, depression, epilepsy, all involve something going wrong in those connections. And now, researchers can study the circuit, not just the symptoms. It might even help us understand what is happening in the brain of a serial killer. Are we meant to understand things like this? Mapping the wiring tells us how the brain runs, but what if the instructions for every disease you will ever develop are already inside you, in the 98% of your DNA science called junk for decades? For decades, scientists thought 98% of your DNA did nothing. They were wrong. They just could not read it yet. In June 2025, Google DeepMind published Alpha Genome, a tool that scans up to 1 million letters of DNA and predicts how small changes that ignored 98% affect your body. Which genes switch on, which switch off, and where. One wrong switch can cause cancer, mental illness, or a rare disease with no cure. UNSW, Sydney's ECS finder, decoded hidden signals in the same region, and Integra Therapeutics published in Nature Biotechnology that AI designed proteins which edit human DNA more precisely than anything nature ever produced, tested in real human cells. Reading it, understanding it, rewriting it. All three are now happening at the same time. But rewriting the genome also means we might one day design humans stronger, smarter, free of disease. The science is moving faster than the conversation about whether we should. Where do we draw the line? From the code that builds a human body to words sealed by a volcano for 2,000 years. A 21-year-old from Nebraska just read them. Imagine a library that survived a volcanic eruption, sat buried for 275 years after being excavated, and remained completely unreadable, because opening the scrolls turned them to dust. When Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD, it buried the library of Herculaneum, the only large, intact library from the classical world. In 2023, computer scientist Brent Seals launched the Vesuvius Challenge, $1 million to use AI on X-ray CT scans to detect ink traces inside sealed scrolls without opening them. Luke Ferreter, a 21-year-old at the University of Nebraska, became the first person in 2 millennia to read a word from a sealed scroll, and he and 2 others won the $700,000 grand prize in February 2024 after decoding over 2,000 characters. The text is Epicurean Philosophy by Philodemus of Gadara, unread since the 1st century BCE. Hundreds of scrolls remain, and they may contain lost works by Aristotle, Epicurus, or Sappho. Ideas that shaped how we think about life, death, and happiness, sealed for 2,000 years. If they are in there, reading them could change how we understand where our own values came from texts sealed for 2 millennia to 10,000 planets hiding in data we already had. Some of them might change everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe. In April 2026, a Princeton-led team ran a single AI sweep through archived TESS satellite data, 80 million faint starlight curves sitting untouched since 2018, and found 10,091 new exoplanet candidates. One was confirmed by the Magellan Telescope in Chile as a Jupiter-scale gas giant, and Raven at the University of Warwick confirmed 100 more, including worlds orbiting their stars in under 24 hours. The planets were always there. We just never looked. If 10,000 worlds were hiding in data we already had, what else are we missing right now without even knowing it? Somewhere in those candidates, there may be a world that could support life, and the fact that we almost never found it, that stays with you. AI found planets we had already recorded but missed. In 2024, a different AI cracked one of biology's oldest puzzles, one that was quietly blocking the path to cures for diseases that have already taken someone from over 50 million families worldwide. Every process in your body depends on proteins. They fight infections, carry oxygen, build tissue, and send signals between cells. And every protein only works if it folds into exactly the right shape. For 50 years, figuring out what shape a protein would fold into was one of the hardest problems in science. So hard that most researchers spent entire careers on a single protein. In 2020, Google DeepMind's AlphaFold solved it. It could predict the shape of almost any protein with the same accuracy as a lab experiment. In October 2024, the Nobel Prize in Chemistry went to Demis Hassabis and John Jumper of DeepMind and David Baker of the University of Washington, the first Nobel ever awarded for work done at a technology company. AlphaFold has since mapped 200 million proteins and made everything free. 2 million researchers in 190 countries now use it to search for treatments for Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cancer, and antibiotic resistance, all at the same time. Every time a researcher finds a new drug target faster, that is time saved for a real patient. The drug that helps you or someone you love in the next decade may exist sooner because of this. AlphaFold found biological laws that were always there. At Emory, I found laws of physics that had never been written, and the researchers cannot explain how. In 2026, a team at Emory University gave an AI raw lab data from dusty plasma, a state of matter from the early universe. No equations, no rules, just data. It found physical laws that nobody had ever written down. The researchers verified them. They are real, but the team cannot fully explain how the AI found them. Published in PNAS, 2026. Think about what that means. Every technology we have, electricity, medicine, computing, started with someone discovering a law of nature. If AI can now find laws that human minds cannot derive, we may be standing at the edge of a wave of discoveries we cannot even imagine yet. New energy sources, new materials, new ways to treat disease, all potentially unlocked by laws we did not know existed last year. Does that excite you or does it scare you? Will these laws power clean energy for billions or end up in a weapons lab? AI just found laws of nature we never knew existed. Now, two groups of serious scientists are publicly disagreeing about the one question that changes everything: whether the reality you are living in right now is actually real. What if everything around you, this room, your body, the people you love, is not physical matter, but information being processed, like a video game running on a computer you cannot see? In May 2025, a peer-reviewed paper proposed exactly that. Gravity is not a force, but a side effect of the universe compressing data, and the math checks out. In October 2025, a separate peer-reviewed paper argued the opposite. Reality cannot be computational because mathematics itself proves no system can fully describe itself. Both published, both peer-reviewed, opposite conclusions. AI simulations of the universe have become so accurate that scientists struggle to explain what would be different if we were inside one. Columbia astronomer David Kipping ran the numbers, 50-50. Not fringe theory, serious scientists disagreeing in public about whether any of this is real. So, can you imagine we actually live in the Matrix? And if we did, how would we ever know? Let me know what you think, from the biggest question in science to one of the most personal. Every year, 1.27 million people die from infections no drug can stop anymore. You go to the doctor with a bacterial infection. They give you an antibiotic. It does not work. They try another. Same result. This is already killing 1.27 million people a year. Bacteria evolve faster than we develop new drugs, and no new class of antibiotics has reached patients in decades. In August 2025, MIT's James Collins at the Broad Institute used AI to design completely new antibiotic compounds from scratch, effective against MRSA, the deadliest drug-resistant bacteria we know. McMaster's Synthemol RL searched 46 billion possible molecules and found synthesin, showing strong early results, published April 2026. These are not approved drugs yet, but for the first time in decades, real candidates exist. If you have watched someone fight an infection that nothing could stop, share this. Every one of these is real, but most are still in labs, and the gap between a discovery and something that actually reaches you is wider than headlines suggest. The science is moving fast. The ethics, the laws, and the access are not keeping up. Who controls what happens next? And is that a good thing? Drop it in the comments. The next video is already there.